Hey, Janine, are we good?
Are we good? Okay. It is now 6:42 and
Wait.
it is now 6:42 and we are out of closed executive session. At this time, we will reconvene the regular meeting of the Board of Education with the pledge seen as flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any items on the agenda, roll call, please.
Mr. Bucher.
Here.
Mr. Herrera.
Here.
Mrs. Hope. Here. Ms. Mayville. Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Here.
Mrs. Whitcomb. Here. Mr. Zickert.
Now, are there any items on the agenda any members of the board would like to take, or would like to amend or move? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda of the regular meeting of the Board of Education on June 21st, 2022 as presented?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Member Herrera made the motion and Member Zickert seconded the motion to approve the agenda of the regular meeting of the Board of Education on June 21st, 2022 as presented. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Herrera.
Aye.
Mr. Zickert.
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mr. Bucher.
Aye.
Mrs. Hope.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Next on the agenda, we have something new starting this month, and it's district celebrations. I'm proud to share this new category with you, and first up, we would like to honor the 2022 graduates. District 100 awarded 578 students with high school diplomas at this year's graduation ceremonies that were held on Sunday, May 22nd. 286 were from BHS, 292 from Belvedere North, and 42 graduates earned their diplomas by completing their graduation requirements at Everest Satellite High School. We'd like to wish all of our graduates nothing but the best in their next endeavors and beyond. Next would be the seal of biliteracy and commendation towards biliteracy. For the past 2 years, District 100 has offered students the opportunity to receive the Illinois State Seal of Biliteracy and the commendation towards biliteracy. The Illinois State Seal of Biliteracy is a recognition given to graduating high school students who have demonstrated a high level of proficiency in English and another language in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Language proficiency is determined through scores on the ACT, SAT, ACCESS, or AP English Language Test, and AAPPL AP Language Tests. Students who do not demonstrate proficiency in both languages may qualify for the Illinois State Commendation towards Biliteracy, which is a recognition given to graduating high school students who have demonstrated significant progress toward achieving a high level of proficiency in English and in another language in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. For the 2021 school year, District 100 awarded 3 Seal of Biliteracy and 4 commendation toward biliteracy. For the 21-22 school year, District 100 awarded 7 Seal of Biliteracy and 3 commendations towards biliteracy. The languages that have been representative have been Spanish, Portuguese, and Russian. A complete list of students receiving these awards for both last year and this year have been provided, as well as the award they received. Those students' names for the graduation year of 2021 is Leslie Jimena Ubita Valdez, Elizabeth Garnica, Samantha Santoyo, Victoria Gutierrez, Destiny Martinez, Kimberly Rivas, and Anna Victoria Sida. For the 2022 school year, Fatima Urbita, Vanessa Zabeta, Paola Ramirez, Evelyn Molina, Natalia Pidkova, Tamara Mendoza, Luisa Rovina Manfrey, Alondra Pena, Marielle Avila, and Alexander Ramos. Congratulations. Next is the Pathways program. You will notice 2 different graphics that are indicated on the Pathways program update that was offered by Mr. Nicholas Butenhoff. The first graphic is the career pathway interest students identified as part of the course selection process for the 21-22 school year. And the second is a breakdown of the 532 students who earned college credit through our Pathways courses this past year. Next, the 2022 Scholarship Award recipients. The board would like to take a moment to congratulate the students from the class of 2022 from BHS and Belvedere North who received scholarships totaling over $235,000 towards furthering their education at the annual Scholarship Awards ceremony on May 18th. Special thanks to all scholarship providers for encouraging and supporting education after graduation. You can also see a complete list of all students receiving the scholarships attached to board docs for this evening under District Celebrations 2022 Scholarship Award recipients. In addition to the student recognition, the board would also like to recognize and celebrate their staff as well. Joanne Armstrong, our CFO, received the recognition of designation as a school risk manager at the Wisconsin School Business Officials Association Convention in May of 2022. In addition, Mrs. Armstrong was one of 4 district business managers across the state of Wisconsin, recognized for collaboration with the Wisconsin Association of School Boards to inform Wisconsin school boards on requirements and restrictions of federal ESSER or ESSER funds and monies. Congratulations, Mrs. Armstrong. At this time, members of the public and employees of District 100 who submitted comments via email will be read, and those attending in person may make public comments. A reminder that this is a professional business meeting, and as such, all attendees from board members to speakers to public attendees are reminded to conduct themselves professionally and refrain from the use of profanity, unprofessional language, and/or verbal or personally directed attacks. Verbal comments from the public are restricted to those being delivered during an individual's public comment as indicated on the board agenda. Unsolicited verbal comments, outbursts, and profanity and physical disruptions directed at members of the Board of Education, the superintendent, administrators, and/or audience members is not allowed and will not be tolerated. If such an occurrence occurs, a verbal warning will be given by the president. And if an individual is identified as a continued disruption during the board meeting, the individual or individuals may be asked to leave the meeting. If necessary, we may ask or request the assistance of law enforcement to escort the individual or individuals from the building. Per board policy 2230, the board must allow a minimum of 30 minutes of public comment and a 20-minute minimum total length of time for any one subject. If we reach 30 minutes on any given topic this evening, I may request an end to public comment. We will start with those that are in person this evening. I have received a couple of items. Kendra Carter, speaking on a resident concern. And I would ask if everyone could keep their comments, try to minimum of 3 minutes so everyone has a chance to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Kendra Carter. I'm a Belvedere resident, taxpayer, a former teacher in public schools, and an administrator. I had the opportunity to attend the May 16th board meeting last month, and I'd like to share some general observations. During the public comments last month, there did not seem to be anyone taking notations about the issues that were spoken of. And I'm curious, when do public comments get addressed? Yes, you're giving the public a voice. However, when nothing is addressed publicly, are community members really being heard? Are these matters discussed amongst board members at a later date? We, the public, don't know. Parents and residents are coming forward to voice their growing concern about biological male students utilizing female bathrooms and locker rooms while females are present. We were told last month by the superintendent that the district administration and the school board are supportive of these measures. We were also told that these directives came from the ISBE and you were essentially following orders. According to the ISBE website, the information presented for supporting transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming students dated 3/1/2020 is considered non-regulatory guidance. Non-regulatory guidance is not binding and does not impose new requirements beyond those in the law and regulations. Rather, it's intended to help the public understand how the Department of Education is interpreting the law. As responsible citizens and educators and parents, it's our moral obligation to make sure that all students' rights are protected. that students are not forced into situations that can lead to possible harm, and that students are not exposed to sexually embarrassing moments while in school. Since it appears that District 100 has jumped on the wokeism bandwagon, I have a question to ask. What's next? Should we be expecting drag queen story hours soon? Or student assemblies promoting LGBTQ activists, or after school clubs to spring up? I'm sure I'm not the only one that's wondering these things within the community. The vast majority of our population is not in favor of indoctrination, which it appears is beginning to take place in this community. The school district's job is to provide a formal education for its students, not to push a whacked out agenda that would have gotten people fired 10 years ago. Our kids' innocence is being stolen, and we as adults need to stand up and we need to fight for them. The line has been drawn in the playground sand, and I really hope that you're on the right side of the line. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Leslie, is it Ruth? Ruthie, speaking regarding policy content.
My name is Leslie Ruthie. Thank you for your attention. I'm here to say that our children are systematically being attacked and destroyed. Their hearts and minds are at stake. Do you know that Marxism and communism both have a history of using the educational system to propagate its ideology and usher its destruction? In our ignorance and complacency, we allow the evil works of communism to infiltrate our society through our classrooms and textbooks. We allow the book of wisdom, the Bible, the standard of right and wrong, to be removed from the classroom because of an errant misinterpretation of our First Amendment. This error was the beginning of communist infiltration and subsequently the loss of an entire generation plagued by mental illness, substance abuse, sexual confusion, suicide, and a hate for its own country. I have a few quotes. Stalin said, "Education is a weapon of which the effect is determined by the hands which wield it." Lenin said, "Give me just one generation of youth and I'll transform the whole world." Hitler, "He alone who owns the youth gains the future." Our children are the target. And now, here we are with a generation lost, confused, fixated on their sexual identity, barely able to read, write, or do arithmetic, being turned against their own country and its values. Anyone who thinks this is acceptable is perverted and a traitorous communist, in my opinion. Deceived at best by the propaganda, which are the communistic ideologies that have been masquerading as a liberal arm of democracy for decades. Weaponizing education to destroy our youth from within, from their hearts and minds. Using sexuality and race as a tool to do this. Now I ask you, if a man or a woman approaches a child, and I have to say a woman because of the kind of situation that we're in, if they approach a child and show them his penis, or a picture of one, or an illustrated act of sex, would you agree that that person is a sick pedophile? I would like to see a show of hands. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I would too, but I don't think he responded.
Should children be protected from such abuse? Thank you. Do you think that the introduction of such content, such filth, simply but deceptively redefined as education in a textbook, do you think that it would have any less impact on a child than if it came from a dirty magazine from a gas station? Does it awaken the arousal of sexuality? I'm against that. We're against that. I will close by asking you two questions. Are you a pedophile? One who agrees that it's okay to awaken that sexuality and promote arousal in our children just because it's been redefined as education in a textbook? I hope not. Are you a communist? One who is atheistic and is attempting to promote anti-American ideology, such as CRT. We're not racist. We're the best nation in the world. I personally call for the resignation and removal of anybody who has either answered yes to those questions or is unable to deny such ideology. We the people will not tolerate communistic traitors or perverted criminals in our schools. We will pull our kids, we will start alternative educational environments and let you and your system implode from within by your own filthy rot if it's not corrected.
Thank you, Ms. Ruthie. Next, Chrissy Dawson, speaking regarding gender restrooms and lockers, book, inappropriate teachings and books and structure of meetings.
Well, that would be fun. So I wanted to address the structure of the meeting. We go to the school to address, issues, and we go to the board meeting. We come here, we speak. I email people. I don't really get response usually, and we're here for change. We're here to represent children. A lot of things going on in our schools we don't know about as parents, and that's one of the things that scares me the most. I send my kids to school hoping that the teachers and people in charge of them will make sure my kids are safe and not shown inappropriate things as I would do as a daycare provider or anything in my own home. So I have reached out to the librarian about the books that made headlines recently at Harlem. It appears that we have these books. When we started this meeting, you had said no profanity, which I won't even read this because our books have tons of it in our library. I'm not okay with my kids using this language. It's disrespectful. If they spoke to a teacher like that, they would be in a ton of trouble. So it scares me that my kids are going to school and teaching this. One of the books talks about a 6-year-old having a sexual relationship. And I can give you this. I have copies of it. When I heard this, I was like, oh, it's people just, starting stuff. Knowing that my kids are being shown this stuff, it really, really bothers me that the schools are okay with it. If you go on to websites, they say 14 and up. So 14 and up, how are these guidelines being, it's from the author. So why don't we have a process in our schools, people reading this saying, is this appropriate or not? My kids were 13 as freshmen, so below that 14, by the way. And they can access this in our schools. It really concerns me. Again, my daughter wanted to come yesterday. She came here with me, and then we realized the board meeting was not today because she wanted to be heard. She feels silence is very uncomfortable using the restrooms in the locker rooms, and I don't blame her. We are completely supportive of what someone wants to do, but when it's going to, my children being exposed to things, we need to do something for all of the children. I really feel like we need to do something. We need to be addressed. These meetings should be broadened. We need answers. So I'm hoping I'll get some responses. I know I've emailed some people that haven't gotten back to me from the last meeting, but we do have people that we do need change. I know Dr. Weisman, we figured he wouldn't be here. He wouldn't have much of an impact on this. So I hope the board members can speak about this and get us some answers because that's really what we need as parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dawson. Does anyone else have anything they would like to address the board with? Okay, we've received 2 emails that have been requested to be read. The first was received June 19th of 2022. Dear District 100 board members, I have been a teacher in District 100 for 21 years, and I was a member of this year's interest-based bargaining team. I'm writing to ask you to vote yes for the Belvedere Education Association agreement. This contract is necessary to continue the high-quality education for which Belvedere is known. Here are some of the top reasons to vote yes. 1, teacher shortages. During my tenure in Belvedere, I've witnessed the increasing struggle to fill positions in the district. What once was considered a rare occurrence has now become commonplace. Since the last board meeting, 20 teachers have resigned and many more are considering leaving. Like many other teachers, this past year was the most difficult I have experienced in my career. Teaching has become more difficult with increased students of social emotional needs, period subbing on a daily basis, and learning new grading systems. This is the first time in my career that I have seriously contemplated leaving the profession. District 100 once boasted itself as a great place to work, but without the passage of this contract, we may become a hard to staff district, quote unquote. Number 2, competition from neighboring districts. In addition to the shortage of teachers, District 100 faces stiff competition from our neighboring districts. Our base salary is the lowest in the area. Rockford, Harlem, Woodstock, DeKalb, Huntley all offer higher base salaries. At one time, it was risky for a teacher to leave for a new school and reestablish tenure, but more teachers are taking advantage of the portable tenure option now. Historically, my department of 7 people has been solid with few departures over the years. However, in the last 2 years, I have watched 2 of my colleagues in the department leave for higher paying districts. If the board wants to avoid the high cost of continually recruiting and training new teachers, the board must be willing to pass the Healthier Education Association agreement. 3, increased cost of living. Housing, gasoline, and food prices are surging, which has led to an increase of 8.6% in the Consumer Price Index. As one of the 48 veteran teachers who have maxed out on the pay scale, I have received a cumulative pay increase of less than 1% over the past 4 years, which has equated to a gross pay increase of $33.73 per check since 2018. The rising cost of living and a stagnant paycheck have put immense stress on not only myself, but many of my colleagues. The stress, in turn, impacts a teacher's ability to focus on the needs of our students and be our best in the classroom. A yes vote on the BEA contract would do much to alleviate the stress felt by teachers. 4, the money is available. As a member of the IBB negotiations team, I have seen District 100's fund balance. Since fiscal year 15, the district surplus has increased by $20.3 million to a total of over $64 million. The Illinois State Board of Education recommends 180 days cash on hand. District 100 currently has 258 days cash on hand. The teachers of District 100 have been told for at least a decade that we are living under a deficit budget and have sacrificed pay increases, yet the fund balance has increased by millions of dollars each year. The taxpayers of the district are under the assumption that this money is being spent on instructional purposes when in fact it is not. Research has identified teacher quality as the most important school-related factor influencing student achievement. If the district is not putting the money they have to ensure teacher quality. In conclusion, representatives of the Teachers Union, District Administration, and the Board of Education participated in interest-based bargaining to identify similar concerns and brainstorm possible solutions. The BEA contract was the outcome of our work together, and it was agreed that this contract was ratifiable by both parties. I urge you to vote yes on the contract. It will make District 100 a destination district and continue to ensure quality education for the students of the district. Sincerely, Dr. Teresa Kruger, Belvedere North High School Social Studies Content Leader and Instructor. Thank you, Dr. Kruger. And the last is an email that was received Monday, June 20th. Dear District 100 board members, we are disappointed about the endorsement opportunities on the high school level. The district was not transparent with students or parents about these endorsements. My daughter is a 2022 graduate from District 100 and has been told since her freshman year that she would have the opportunity to earn an endorsement on her diploma and or transcript. I had conversations with Mr. Butenhoff about these endorsements as my daughter was trying to earn 2 endorsements. However, one class she needed to complete for her second one was never offered after her freshman year. My first conversation with Mr. Butenhoff was in regards to this fact, which then led to a discussion that they never expected students to receive more than 1 endorsement. Why not? We accepted the fact that she would only receive 1 as 1 was better than nothing. After graduation, we started looking into why her endorsement was not on her diploma like promised. After conversations with the school counselor, who was not sure why it was not there, I was once again referred to Mr. Butenhoff. I was told by Mr. Butenhoff that no students received their endorsements as District 100 does not have the state approval needed to offer such. So my daughter worked for this along with other students for 4 years, and we don't have the approval from the state of Illinois. I have included below what is stated on our district's website about endorsements along with the District 100 link to endorsements at https:/district100.com/endorsements, college and career endorsements. Career endorsements signify that a student is ready to pursue post-secondary education or enter a career related to a selected career interest area and incentivize career exploration and development. District 100 class of 2022 students will be the first class who have the opportunity to obtain this endorsement. Courses within the endorsement are based on a wide range of careers that fall within each endorsement area. Many of these endorsement courses can earn a student early college credit. To learn more about the early college credit, click here. Earning an endorsement will indicate a student's readiness for career, civic, and college success. District 100 class of 2022 is to be the first class to have the opportunity to earn an endorsement. Students or parents never received information that these endorsements would only be offered once approved by the state. I shared our disappointment with Mr. Butenhoff as well as Dr. Wiesman. Mr. Butenhoff said, on the bright side, your daughter received dual credit. This is correct, she did. However, she did not receive any endorsements. I was then asked what I thought my daughter missed out on. I repeated what the website stated. These students are ready to pursue post-secondary education or enter a career related to a selected career interest area and incentivized career exploration and development. Below is what is stated on our webpage. Enacted by Illinois in 2016, the Post-Secondary and Workforce Readiness established a voluntary system for school districts to award college and career pathway endorsements to high school graduates. Endorsements signify that a student is ready to pursue post-secondary education or enter a career related to a selected career interest area and incentivized career exploration and development. District 100 class of 2022, students will be the first class who have the opportunity to obtain this endorsement. College and career pathways are based on a wide range of careers that fall within each endorsement area. Earning an endorsement will indicate a student's readiness for career, civic, and college success. I asked when these would be approved, as I still have 2 more students in District 100 and 1 in high school now. I was told by Mr. Butenhoff he has hope for endorsements in 2023. Do students that are on this pathway now know that do students that are on this pathway now know this is a hope and not a commitment from the district? Has anyone been provided such information that these endorsements are contingent on state approval? The final response that I received was from Dr. Weisman. He shared that due to COVID-19, we had many challenges and could not reach our district goal. These students missed out on enough because of COVID-19. Now they missed out on another opportunity for endorsements on their diploma. Please consider updating the district website with more accurate information for endorsements. Regards, Tom, Pam, and Emma Wahlberg. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Wahlberg and Emma Wahlberg. At this time, if there are no other additional comments, we would move on to the next part of our agenda, and public comment is closed. Next, we have our Board of Education committee reports. Parent Teacher Advisory Committee meeting met on May 26th. Dr. Carson, do you have anything that you would like to add?
Well, just that the handbook is under your first year and first night for your review. That's based, some of the adjustments are based on feedback from that.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Carson? Excuse me, Dr. Carson. I apologize. Policy Committee meeting met June 7th. Mr. Herrera, you were at the meeting. Do you have anything you'd like to add to the notes or highlight?
Nothing in addition to the notes, but we will be voting on roll call items, policy 7:270 and 7:285.
And these are coming directly to the board direct from the committee because of the need to have them in place before school
Before
starts,
school
correct?
starts. That is correct, yeah,
And board policy allows for that emergency situations.
correct.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Herrera? Okay. Curriculum Committee meeting met June 8th. Mr. Zickert, do you have anything you would like to add or highlight regarding your minutes?
No, I don't think that, not that nobody wants to hear about Learning A to Z and Mastery Connect and the evaluation plan, but the one topic that people will be of interest was the retention bonus for all employees at District 100. That will be voted on during roll call action, which I think will be of interest to most of the people in the room. And I think that was pretty much covered.
Have any questions for Mr. Zickert? Okay, Business Services Committee meeting met June 9th. Mr. Booker, is there anything you'd like to highlight or add in regards to the minutes?
We only have a couple items and we're going to go over those later in the meeting.
And the items that you have are being recommended for approval?
Yes.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Booker? Next on the agenda are consent agenda items. Are there any items on the consent agenda any members of the board would like to take out for separate consideration?
Yeah, 10.
Member Zickert requested to have item number 10, Mastery Connect renewal, removed and voted separately. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 9 and 11 through 13 as presented?
So moved.
Second,
Member Whitcomb made the motion and member Herrera seconded the motion to approve consent agenda items numbers 1 through 9 and 11 through 13 as presented. Any discussion? Roll call, please. Oh, sorry. At this time, I would like to recognize the following donation, $200 from Christina and Mark Boone for Belvedere North High School Music Department. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mr. Herrera.
Aye.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Zickert.
Aye.
Mrs. Howe.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda item number 10, Mastery Connect renewal?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve Master Connect renewal.
Second.
Member Zickert made a motion and member Herrera seconded the motion to approve consent agenda item number 10, Mastery Connect renewal. Any discussion?
Yeah, the reason I pulled it was because of the years. We talked about that. It was either 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. We asked some questions. We did get some of the information back. But we never, when I noticed this, it was recommended to be a 2-year approval instead of 1 or 3, which I had no idea why that was. Why was 1, 2, or 3?
Yes, Allison had asked for me to provide a recommendation. I was recommending the 2-year contract based off of just last year and everything that the staff had gone through. The 2-year shows the commitment to Mastery Connect and proficiency-based grading at the elementary level. The 3-year was really, I avoided the 3-year in my recommendation just based off of the changing of some of our student numbers. And just not having all the information yet if our enrollment looked different by year 3 and what that would look like. So that's where my 2-year recommendation came from.
One of the items that we received in the information regarding Mastery Connect was that the items that are added, and please correct me because I'm probably going to call them incorrect, what they are incorrectly. That the items, when assessments are being created, that the item assessments are available to everyone within the Mastery Connect. However, if we were ever to no longer use Mastery Connect, we would no longer have access to those items, whether we created them or not. Is that correct?
Created in the item bank itself. The assessment we would, but the actual individual items we would not. So
Okay.
it would be a bit of it would be challenging.
Is that something that teachers know so they can keep that information if they have included in Mastery Connect? Because I know not all teachers necessarily publish those things in Mastery Connect, but do the individuals that do know that that is the case?
I think that's why we're recommending that we continue with Mastery Connect and show the commitment to that. So as teachers are building those things in so that they do have ability to make the common assessments, that they know that they're all there and that we'll continue with that platform. But knowing that we would still have access to the assessments created is better response than what I was originally thinking in terms of what we would receive back. So this is information that I would say exporting each individual item we would not be able to do, but the assessments we would.
In the
We can
past-
clarify
I'm
that.
sorry. In the past, we've just been doing 1-year contracts, haven't we?
Correct.
Okay, that's why I asked.
Yep.
So I think I'm gonna just re-ask Allison's question, I think, because I think I didn't catch what your response was. Do teachers know that they would, if ever Mastery Connect went away, that they would lose a portion of what they are creating and utilizing in there so that they could keep that for future, also, not instead of
Right.
putting it there,
Right.
but in the event that possibly it ever did go away, even at 2 years, we're only making a 2-year, contract, even if it were 3, there's a finite amount of time.
Sure.
So do they know?
I would guess in
Back up.
general, any platform that we use, we always want to make sure that we have some way of kind of pulling that information. So whether that's an assessment platform, whether that's a platform like this one. But I don't know that we've explicitly asked this question to then explicitly tell people the answer to it. I don't know that I've ever been asked this other than 2 weeks ago at our board packet meeting.
See, I just looked at it as in the 1-year contract, I thought it gave us a little more flexibility on, I'm not trying to get rid of it, everybody, that's not my, is that based on enrollment numbers, we pay by the person. So when if we have more enrollment or less enrollment, I mean, either gonna go up or down, probably not gonna matter either way, because we'll have to pay for more anyway. I'm just trying to guard us against if it went down.
That's
That
why
was my
I
question.
didn't do, that's why personally, I didn't recommend a 3-year.
And that's why I thought we just keep doing 1 years, but that's just my opinion.
I think any work, but for me, that was why my recommendation at the time was 2, was just to show the commitment level to the platform.
Anyone else have any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zickert,
Yes.
Mr. Herrera,
Aye.
Mrs. Hauk,
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb,
Aye.
Mr. Booker,
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Next, we're moving on to our roll call items, and before we start that, I would like to thank everyone for coming. This is one of our largest groups in probably the past year. I know that you're all very anxious to hear discussion and a vote. We did not in closed executive session get through all of the discussions in regards to contracts for this evening. So we will not be voting in this roll call action. We will be having roll call action after our second closed executive session. I just wanted to let everyone know that, so you know what to expect. Okay, moving on. Do I have a motion regarding revisions to the existing Board of Education policy 7270, administering medications to students?
Motion to approve 7270, administrating medicines to students.
Second.
Member Herrera made the motion and Member Zickert seconded the motion to approve the existing Board of Education policy 7270 revisions, administering medicines to students as presented. Any discussion? Mr. Herrera, this is only in regards to EpiPens, correct?
That is correct.
And I know that there's other medications that have been discussed. Will that still remain on the discussion?
That will be
Docket.
as part of the discussion ongoing with the policy committee going forward, is continue to evaluate some of the other medications as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Herrera,
Aye.
Mr. Zickert,
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb,
Aye.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mrs. Hauk,
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion regarding revisions to the existing Board of Education policy 7285, anaphylaxis prevention, response and management program? As presented.
Motion to approve 7285 as presented.
Second.
Member Herrera made the motion and Member Whitcomb seconded the motion to approve the revisions to existing Board of Education policy 7285, anaphylaxis prevention, response and management program as presented. Is this existing or is this new?
This would be new to the,
The policy existed,
yeah,
but there are a significant number of changes.
Thank you.
So it feels new.
it does feel new, but there are some changes that need to be in there.
Yeah.
That we need to get thrown out. So,
Title was changed.
yes.
Yeah.
Any questions, discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Herrera,
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb,
Aye.
Mrs. Hauk,
Aye.
Mr. Zickert.
Aye.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. I have a motion regarding the ESSER 3 staff retention funds.
Motion to approve ESSER 3 staff retention funds.
Second.
Member Zickert made the motion and Member Herrera seconded the motion to approve the ESSER 3 staff retention funds as presented. Discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quickly, this wasn't the only option looked at. There were 3 other options besides this one. This was the one that that the group thought would be viewed the best by the most people. Nothing's perfect, nothing's is going to be the best for everybody, but out of the 4 options, and there were teachers on the committee too, so they'll explain it if they need to be, but this appeared to be the best option, the most agreeable among the people there.
And this is for all staff members that are returning for next year.
Every staff member. The only ones I think it was an exception to, and I'll stand corrected if I'm wrong, were the ones that were in the retirement pipeline.
But the recommendation indicates that there was recommendation for consideration that they receive, be provided time off. What time off? What's the recommendation for? Are we just voting on the money and we're taking into further consideration in the future how we're going to address those in the pipeline? Or is there a recommendation for how we're going to give them time off?
Yeah, there were some thoughts. I mean, there were some thoughts on certain days that they would be excused from having to come as a exchange for that. It's not going to be an even exchange. I mean, it's just, nothing's ever going to work out exactly right. But when you have people in the retirement pipeline, it poses problems with extra compensation. I mean, it's just a logistical issue that's very difficult to get around.
One consideration was the last school improvement day of the year. It's that they, right before they retire, as an option, then you don't have to involve subs. So that was one option discussed. And again, it would just be for the teachers in the retirement pipeline.
And how many of them are there that would be affected?
I don't know, there's probably, currently in the pipeline right now, there's probably 40, that's just a guess.
That are affected by this and that would receive the time off in lieu of? Yes. Okay. Personally, I don't really like having to make them wait all year to get it. I mean, everybody else is gonna have the day, the money on the front end. And then, and maybe they're okay with it. I don't know, but so I'm trying to wait. If you think about it, you have to wait all year.
So the
But I get the sub conversation. I get it.
Yeah, the discussion at the committee level was that if the board was agreeable to finding something, that the administration would be tasked with finding what that something would be for those that were in the retirement pipeline. Because adding anything to their salary can result in some issues with retirement system.
Right. So do we need to amend the motion in some way to make that indication? The recommendation within the body says that the committee recommended to consider providing time off. But do we not need to capture in the motion and vote that we would be empowering administration to find that solution?
We can, if you would like to capture just tasking the administration with finding an option for those in the retirement pipeline versus giving time off, where if that's not what's decided as the easiest thing to do. So it can be in a motion. Mr. Zickert, would you like?
Well, I don't know. I'm asking that we memorialize it somehow. Right now, we're memorializing the money, right? Without benefit of memorializing those teachers in the retirement pipeline. How do we memorialize that?
Yeah, we could do that. I guess I'm just
Amend your motion?
a little nervous about how we memorialize that to make it specific enough to where,
Without
without telling the administration, this is what you're going to do.
Right,
or
I get that.
That's it. I mean, that's the problem I have.
Dr. Johnson, do you have any recommendation then for that?
How do you want us to?
I would like to go back, if you're willing to help me, we could survey those in the retirement pipeline just to see if there's any other ideas and bring it back to maybe board curriculum.
Okay, and then maybe bring a separate motion in regards to what in the future when you go through
Right,
that?
because I don't think, like, to your point, they're not going to be able to receive this in August. This is more so we can
Sure.
get going to
Right.
do this, whereas the other one, we have more time.
Yeah.
So that's what I would.
Maybe they want a whole lot of Burger King.
Maybe, maybe. So that.
So we would do that separate, but it would, you will go back and figure it out. It will come back the next time we meet. So that if their polling indicates, I don't want to wait all year.
Right.
That the collective voice would be heard, that we could do something on the earlier side of the year than later.
Yes.
Is that agreeable, Mrs. Wickham?
I just don't want them to have to wait all year, but you don't have to.
Does anyone else have any other comments? Good with that?
Okay, so survey.
So we'll wait for something else to come from the curriculum committee in regards to that for a future motion for individuals in the pipeline. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zickert,
Yes.
Mr. Herrera,
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb,
Aye.
Mrs. Haut.
Aye.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Returning staff members will be receiving $500 retention bonus. Do I have a motion to amend the administrative salary budget for 2022 school year to $115,000 in the administrative salary budget, and the total budget being $4,562,000?
Motion to approve the amended administrative salary budget for 2022, 2023 to $115,000 for a total amount of $4,562,000.
Second.
Member Zickert made the motion and Member Booker seconded the motion to increase the administrative salaries for the 2022-2023 school year to $115,000 and the total administrative budget for the 22-23 school year to the amount of $4,562,000 as amended. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zickert.
Aye.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Herrera.
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mrs. Haut.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion to adjust the salary and contract for Joanne Armstrong for the 22-23 school year to $164,934.13 as presented?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Member Herrera made the motion and Member Whitcomb seconded the motion to adjust the salary and contract for Joanne Armstrong for the 22-23 school year to $164,934.13 as presented. Any discussion?
I just think it's appropriate to say that this was just a clerical situation that occurred. This is just a math computation issue. It's not additional raise. It's just fixing a whoops, that plus that was wrong previously.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Herrera.
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mr. Zickert.
Aye.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mrs. Haut.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion regarding the salary and contract adjustment for Donald Smith to adjust the salary and contract for the 22-23 school year from $98,137 to $102,000 as presented to amend?
Motion to approve the salary and contract adjustment for Donald Smith.
Second.
Member Zickert made the motion and Member Herrera seconded the motion to adjust the salary and contract for Donald Smith for the 22-23 school year from $98,137 to $102,000 as presented in amendment. Any discussion?
Yeah, I think just a quick explanation. This is one that was a co-principal job before, and now it's not going to be. So that's why the need to adjust his salary.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zickert.
Aye.
Mr. Herrera.
Aye.
Mrs. Haut.
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion to approve the finance manager job description as presented?
Motion to approve finance manager job description as presented. Sorry.
Member Herrera made the motion and Member Booker seconded the motion to approve the finance manager job description as presented. Mrs. Armstrong, the one that was prior to you being here, the one that was approved back in January, that then will go unfilled and no longer be effective, correct?
Correct.
So this is in essence taking its place.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Herrera.
Aye.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mrs. Hauk.
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mr. Zickert.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion regarding the 12-month non-union wage increases for 22-23?
Motion to approve the 12-month non-union wage increases for 2022 and 2023.
Second.
Member Herrera made the motion and Member Hauk seconded the motion to approve the 255-day and 261-day 12-month non-union wage increases for the following individuals as presented. Pam Ashens, at 255 days, Pam Ashens, Evelyn Coral, Samantha Delgado, Maggie Fullick, Kara Graves, Janine Hadley, Michaela Miracle, Melissa Ramirez, Karen Rivera, Barbie Young. And for 261 days, Scott Berkness, Larry Bone, James Bragg, Lawrence Butterfield, Laura Delorme. Did I say that correctly? Susan Holland, Robert Seal, Richard Bennett, Robert Hunter, David Kenny, Andrew Piskey, Christopher Stein, Linda Weber. Discussion?
Yeah, on this one, just so when you know, when I vote no, what my issue is. When I vote no on this, my issue isn't with giving these people a raise. It's not even with what the raise is for some of them. It's just that some of these are very high increases, double digits or more. And I think having 4 days to look at them and compare them to what other people do similar jobs in the district that aren't getting anywhere near that size of a raise, I had an issue with that. I mean, I think I needed more time to look at and more explanation of why we're paying people with similar jobs and giving them more than double digits, and other people in similar positions are not getting close to that. That's why.
I would echo that. I am on the fence about the numbers, but I do appreciate those individuals in administration who spent time having conversation about it. I still just don't know if it's enough time to be able to really fully vet out. Some of these are, really substantial increases.
And I would say the same too. When I vote no, it is not in regards to the specific individuals. It is in regard to the process, and that process being having the information that I feel necessary to make a correct judgment, either a yes or no in this case. And that would be why it would be a no for me this evening. I would prefer it to come back with some slightly different additional information.
I'd like to thank you, Joanne, for answering my questions about it when I saw it and I had questions and you were able to explain everything. So I'm a yes tonight.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Herrera.
Aye.
Mrs. Hauk.
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mr. Zickert.
No.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
No. Motion passes 4-2. Next, we move on to board. Moment. Okay, next we move on to board discussion. Included in board discussion are the first readings of the 2022 district handbook that came from the Parent Teacher Advisory Committee. I do believe that additional information will be updated in that in the next 4 weeks or so. Dr. Carson, correct? before we need to vote on it again, but if anybody has any questions, they can direct them to Dr. Carson
Make sure and Mrs. Brenner otherwise.
and Mrs. Brenner otherwise between now and when we vote on that to pass it. Then also, we have first reading of policy 2230, public participation at school board meetings and petitions to the board. First reading of policy 410, fiscal and business management. First reading of policy 580, court duty. First reading of policy 6140, education of homeless children. First reading of policy 6290, homework. First reading of policy 715, student and family privacy rights. And that would conclude the first readings for the policies this month to come back at the next meeting for approval. Does anyone have any comments or discussion regarding those? Next, 2022-2023 board meeting dates. Each year, we are required to record and post our regular meeting dates for the year. Right now, we have them on the third Monday of the month, unless we do not have school on that third Monday, then we move it to Tuesdays. And we have them starting at 5:30 p.m. Going into closed executive session. Does anyone have any discussion or requests or want to discuss days? In previous years, they sometimes have been, I believe, the second Monday of the month, just as it pertains to schedules of board members. Does anyone have any requests, discussion, or considerations in regards to the meeting dates? Third Monday, fine for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mrs. Armstrong, absolutely.
Because we have the audit taking place July 21st and 22nd, and our meeting is scheduled for the 18th. Curious if we would be able to move that up 1 week for the July meeting so that we could have the board approve the financial reports prior to the audit, to give me that time to send them to the auditors for the audit. Would not typically be a very busy meeting, so either having a special or being able to just move that up a week, that also allows us to have all the bills approved and taken care of for the financial side before the auditors show up.
So that would be Monday, July 11th.
Yes.
So next month, Monday, July 11th. Does anyone have an issue with that?
Now we'll be here.
You won't be here.
I
I
don't
will be
think I
coming
will
back
be
from
here.
vacation that day, so I probably will be here, but you will see my trailer parked out in the, it'll be hooked to the back of the truck.
Yeah, I don't think I would be here then, but again, that's, I mean, there's still enough. I might be, but I, coming back from vacation, I can't say.
Mr. Herrera,
Checking right now.
What's that actual date?
the actual date would be July 11th.
I will also be unavailable on that day.
That might be a special
Is
meeting.
there then a need for a special meeting then for that to take
Yeah,
place for you?
If we could, and it doesn't have to be that Monday, if we could do it anytime that week, if people were more available, that would be beneficial. I do not feel it would be a very long meeting at all, just to approve those financials and the bills.
How's everybody's rest of the week with that,
I'm good, except the 14th.
right? Anyone else?
Tuesday or, well, I mean, you can't do the 14th, so Tuesday is the best day for me that
I can't make it Tuesday.
week. Sorry, Joanne.
So, are we fine with
I thought so.
Mrs. Ashen sending out something to find in that week that works for the most number of people, understanding that maybe not everyone will be able to be here on the date that is chosen?
Actually, the 14th does work after all.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, I think 14th
Yep.
is best.
14th, well, thanks.
So this would be the 14th.
And because we're bringing all up, there has been conversation about moving the August date back 1 week so that board agendas and planning is not conflicting with the Boone County Fair. As many of the administrators and staff will be out at the fair looking our booth. So there had been discussion about moving that back a week.
Is
Yeah, I think the
Fair
fair doesn't
over?
start till
Fair's
Tuesday.
over.
Doesn't start
Just
Tuesday.
Getting the packet put together.
okay.
Actual preparation.
All right, so maybe.
We
add
have to
that
write all
the-
our reports.
Add that to the email
Okay.
for July. Everything else so far looks okay then for this?
I'm sorry, what are we adding? Finding a different date for August?
Just finding out how many people can
Got
be here if we push it out.
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Okay, upcoming contract renewals and reports are listed there. Learning A to Z, I believe we voted on this evening, so that probably doesn't need to be there, but additional ones that are there, and these will be coming through either curriculum or business services. Yes,
Yes.
okay. Okay. Next would be administration reports. Typically now would be a time for superintendent comments. Dr. Weisman is unavailable this evening. I would like to, and I'm sorry if I'm stealing your thunder, Mrs. Armstrong. I would like to welcome Sean Winters as the Facilities Operations Director, starting on June 30th of 2022. New position. And
I think
he was here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Here.
I think he's talking to the police officer.
Sean has left the building.
Just the room.
Oh, hey.
Oh, it is.
Found him. The only time you step out of the meeting, sorry. Wanted to welcome you as our new Facilities Operations Director, and you'll be starting next week. So Mr. Sean Winters will be joining the team within central office, and welcome.
Thank you, appreciate it. What I will say, if I may, just briefly. My philosophy is we are support staff. We are here to help you. We don't have the luxury of saying that. So anything that we can do, and you will see my face in your buildings. I look forward to the challenges we have here, but it is a challenge as a team. And anything that my department can do for you, that's what. And I cannot wait. I've heard many good things about the elementary schools. Yeah, I guess that's about it.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Foundation for Excellence in Education Grant Recipients. District 100 Foundation for Excellence in Education is created to support, complement, and enrich the educational programs and opportunities for students in the Belvedere School District through issuance of grants. The foundation supports programs that are not part of the district's regular operating budget, and selection criteria include but not limited to innovative design of the program and positive continuing benefits of the program. For the 22-23 school year, the foundation is awarded $44,462 between 12 different grants. And in addition, $5,067 between 3 buildings that were privately funded for additional grants. That list can be seen on the district website under board docs. The buildings that will be receiving money from the grant: Washington Central, Meehan Central, North Central, all elementary buildings, BHS North, Everest, Seth Whitman, Caledonia, and as well Meehan, BHS North, Central, and South golf teams, and Caledonia. At this time, I would turn the meeting over to Mrs. Armstrong to go over anything additionally under the administration reports that would be seen as highlights that we need to discuss.
Thank you. I think that we have posted all of the annual reports for the wellness and the community connections. The ESSER report is been uploaded by Dr. Johnson. And the activity reports and department highlights are there for reading enjoyment. I don't have anything else to add.
Thank you. Dr. Johnson, the first week of summer
Yes.
school has come and now we're in our second week. Would you like to
Correct.
highlight or offer any information?
Yeah, no, just a huge thank you to all of our staff, many of them in this room, because without our staff, we wouldn't be able to offer this programming. So the students were really excited. We had about over 400 show up at elementary just the last week, this past week. And then we've had quite a few students for the middle school and high school programs that were offered an opportunity to recover some of their credit and their coursework. And the first week went off well. And then, of course, we had to remind everybody the confusion of just Monday. This is a new holiday for everybody, and restarted this morning. So I'm ready to go.
Look forward to hearing how everything goes.
Yes. Yep.
August.
Yeah, and I should mention, we're just working on our usual staff, student, and parent surveys, because a lot of families will only do maybe session 1, but not session 2. So we just want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity, like they did last year, just to provide some input.
Following upcoming district events to highlight would be the Business Services Committee meeting happening on July 5th. Summer school session 2 will run from July 11th through the 28th. The Boone County Fair will be August 9th through the 14th. District 100 staff back to school kickoff picnic returning this year, August 19th. And Facilities and Long Range Planning Committee meeting is set for August 31st. At this time, is there any additional items that the board would like to add for discussion? Okay, at this time, the board will be going back into closed executive session to continue discussions from earlier. There will be action to follow. Do I have a motion to go into closed executive session regarding section 2, heading C, exceptions? Sub number 1 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss collective negotiating matters between public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of its employees, and litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal.
So moved.
Member Herrera made the motion and Member Booker seconded the motion to go into second closed executive session. Roll call, please.
Mr. Herrera.
Aye.
Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mrs. Hauk.
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mr. Zickert.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye.
I'll follow Tom. I am.
Sorry. Absolutely.
Right.
They waited like
I
2
wonder
hours.
if we
About
should
5 minutes,
wait and
2 or 3
make
minutes.
sure it's-
Everybody's.
No, I would say.
No, they're around. somewhere. I could hear them.
Well, I know,
amount
but
that-
just anybody who's watching from home.
The cops here too, well, they're roaming around upstairs.
Go for your office.
They're
Take some
raising
candy.
glasses.
Oh,
It's
there's
got
32 people watching at home.
All right.
Like the black screen.
My
Poor
wife-
guys.
Is that a lot compared to some? I
I
don't know.
would think, considering.
Considering it was a black screen.
But I just want to make sure. I know that there's. Oh, yep, it's working. I just.
Janine a message. Look, I know that I'm distracted, but this is where the action is.
They're creatures of habit. They went right to their same.
Same
Just like your students do, just like your students do, they go to the same spot that they usually go to. They're like, "Man,
Yeah.
They were once.
Yeah. Is she watching? Can you tell who's watching?
She said she can hear us.
It is now 8:57 PM and we are out of closed executive session. Roll call, please.
Mr. Booker.
Here.
Mr. Herrera.
Here.
Mrs. Hauk.
Here.
Ms. Mayville. Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Here.
Mrs. Whitcomb.
Here.
Mr. Zickert.
Here.
Do I have a motion regarding the Belvedere Education Association Agreement from 2022 to 2026?
Motion.
Go ahead, Cory.
Motion approved.
Second.
Member Herrera made the motion and member Zickert seconded the motion to approve the Belvedere Education Association Agreement from 2022 to 2026 as presented. Any discussion? I would like to say that a successful school district is not always one with the newest curriculum, the newest grading system, or a one-to-one technology available to all students. But a successful school district relies on the strength of its people. So I'll be voting yes this evening.
I just wanted to say, I received a lot of emails, phone calls from some of you out there I recognize. Thank you for that. And in my reply to many of you, I said, our staff is our number one asset, and I believe that wholeheartedly. So I will be voting yes today too.
I appreciate everybody who sat in the room. I can't imagine what it would have been like to have to go through the process. I said I needed bargaining for dummies as a new board member, just to really even understand the process and all of the information. I have immense respect for teachers, many of you in this room who had a huge impact on my kids. It's very hard for all of us, and I cannot imagine what it has been like to be in those classrooms. I just, as much as I'm here making decisions and present and talking, I'm not in any of those buildings. And there are not words adequate to thank you for all that you do, for all that you have done, for all that you'll continue to do. And for that, I think we're all incredibly grateful, and I will vote yes to support the contract tonight.
Oh, I'll just say really quickly, I'll give the same speech I used to give at BHS all the time. is that you're gonna make a difference in a kid's life every day. Every single day, you're gonna make a difference in a kid's life. Hopefully it's in 99.9% of the time, I'm sure it's positive. But I think you have the biggest impact of kids on this district of anybody, probably besides their parents. So I think it's an immense responsibility and one I know you guys take really seriously. And I hope as we continue to move forward, we as a group do the best possible job we can for the students in Belvedere.
And I just want to echo the comments from my fellow board members as well. I would have to say, our greatest assets in our district are our people. And so retention is very important for us here and for the district. And so as a result, I also will be supporting the contract tonight as well.
This has been a tough one for me. And I thank you for all the letters. And I reached out to a lot of the people who wrote letters and talked to them. The ones I talked to, I thought we had a great conversation with candor and talked about all sides of the situation and agreed on a lot of it. The process was very different for me. There was not a going back and forth. It was, this is what it is, and you say yes or no. I don't think we achieved the best we could have. I am going to vote yes for it, but I don't think we achieved the goal as well as we could have. I would have liked to take one more swing and see if we could get it even better. But with that, I have a tremendous respect for teachers as well. I think it's interesting, some of the letters kind of sometimes implied like the board isn't supportive of teachers. I think that's not fair, especially with all the work all of us did recently on curriculum and everything else, and all the teachers I talked to. I would like to think that's not the case, but I still hear that sometimes. I don't know where that comes from. I also think it's odd since I'm married to a teacher and many of my relatives are teachers. So I have a tough time figuring out where that one comes from. But know that with this, I mean, we do also have a responsibility to all the constituents, which are the taxpayers and other things. And there could be a very real time down the road where, we may have to do things to support this that people may not want. And that's a very distinct reality of this. I hope everybody recognizes that. And I hope you recognize that this board does value teachers tremendously. That's why we're all voting yes.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Herrera.
Aye.
Mr. Zickert.
Aye.
Mrs. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mrs. Hauk.
Aye.
Mr. Bucher.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Do I have a motion regarding the Belvedere Education Support Team Agreement for 2022 to 2025?
Motion to approve the Belvedere Education Support Team Agreement between 2022 and 2025.
Second.
Member Herrera made the motion and Member Bucher seconded the motion to approve the Belvedere Education Support Team Agreement for 2022 to 2025 as presented. Discussion?
Yeah, I'm going to say really quick, I'm going to abstain on this one. It's not because I don't believe in the agreement, because I do. But when they got their last contract, when I was in my retirement mode, I worked with these guys helping negotiate their last contract. And I just don't feel right voting on this one, having the close relationship I did with them when they negotiated their last contract. So it's not, I have no problem with the contract at all. That's not why I'm abstaining.
I did not volunteer to be on the team that negotiated the contract because I would have had zero perspective and said, give them the world. Because again, as most of you know, I have 4 children with special needs and paras have made a difference in their lives. And, when my son passed away 4 months ago, every para and every teacher from this district that he had was in that room. So yes, and yes, and yes, is what I'm saying.
I would like to say again, our strength is in our people that have day-to-day contact with students, that treat them as their own, that take care of them as their own. And we're just really lucky to have
to have the staff that we do.
Our paras are amazing, amazing people. Sitting in negotiations, hearing their stories, hearing how much they love what they do for not a whole lot of money, was inspiring. So they're good people.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Herrera.
Aye.
Excuse me. Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mrs. Hauk.
Aye.
Mrs. Wickham.
Aye.
Mrs. Reed Nemick.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
I know, it's fine.
I apologize.
It's all right.
And I rephrased 5-1. 5-0.
5-0.
Sorry, 5-0.
I didn't vote against it.
It's been a long day.
One time.
Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Member Zickert made the motion and Member Booker seconded the motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed nay. Meeting adjourned at 9:06 p.m. You all for staying. You come in there.